So President Trump said he was sick of the press. He wasn't going to hold his briefings anymore. Then he said, I am holding my briefings. And he came back and he actually looked kind of refreshed. And, he's been complaining about the press being unfair. I don't know why he thinks that. I mean, here's an example, a question from New York Magazine's Olivia Nuzzi.
If an American president loses more Americans over the course of 6 weeks than died in the entirety of the Vietnam War, does he deserve to be reelected?
So, yeah, we've lost a lot of people. But if you look at what original projections were, 2.2 million, we're probably heading to 60,000, 70,000. It's far too many. One person is too many for this.
We are fighting the fake news. It's fake, phony, fake.
Trump doesn't take the bait. It's like curses foiled again. Olivia Nuzzi said, she then burst into a green puff of smoke and vanished. Ari Fleischer writes, it's clown questions like this. He tweets, it's clown questions like this that can make the briefing a waste of time. The only point of that question was to provoke, not learn anything new, not provide information to viewers. The point was to get under Trump's skin. Good to see POTUS rose above and didn't take the bait. And Nuzzi's tweeted reply was, shut the F up. It's like, and not only that, your daughter will prick her finger on a spindle and sleep for 100 years. This is the people. This is our press. And obviously, we love them. We know them. They're so corrupt. And we've talked about the Biden thing proving how corrupt they are. But it does matter. And one of the things we're going to see is that it is a corruption that grows out of their connection to the Democrat Party, which has become corrupt because the Democrats and the press are one. It is all one big chain. So let's start with the new news about Michael Flynn, General Michael Flynn. Now, this corruption stuff, sometimes I don't like to get into it because it's so difficult to follow and the ins and outs are really hard. This is a very simple story. Michael Flynn is a heroic combat veteran, a United States Army lieutenant general. He was the national security advisor when the FBI came after him and they questioned him about a phone call he had had with the Russian ambassador to the United States, Sergei Kislyak. Apparently, Flynn had told Vice President Mike Pence that during this conversation, he had not talked about the sanctions that the Obama administration had put on Russia because of their interference in the election. But in fact, Flynn had said to Kislyak, we don't strike back because we're going to deal with this. Once we come into office, we're going to deal with this. So don't strike back against us. Keep it cool. But he didn't remember this, or he didn't want to tell Pence, whatever. He didn't tell him. So James Comey, FBI director, thinks that Trump has been colluding with Russia. So he's going to go in and find out about this and question this heroic combat general who's now the national security advisor. Remember, Trump has just come into office, and he explained to Nicole Wallace how he went about doing this.
You look at this White House now, and it's hard to imagine two FBI agents ending up in the same room. How did that happen?
I sent them. Something I probably wouldn't have done or maybe gotten away with in a more organized investigation, a more organized administration, in the George W. Bush administration, for example, or the Obama administration. The protocol, two men that all of us have perhaps increased appreciation for over the last 2 years. And in both of those administrations, there was process. And so if the FBI wanted to send agents into the White House itself to interview a senior official, you would work through the White House counsel, and there'd be discussions and approvals and who would be there. And I thought, it's early enough, let's just send a couple guys over.
You're a lying dog-faced pony shoulder.
Well, I think, unfortunately, I think he's telling the truth. And it's shocking that an American audience would laugh at the FBI. These are the cops going in. They told Flynn, oh, you're not going to need a lawyer. It's just us, just guys, just friends. Then they went in and they questioned him without playing the tape of the conversation. They had the conversation on tape. Obviously, it was a recorded conversation. They didn't play it for him, and they asked him questions about it, and they said it was friendly. Even the FBI agents who were there did not feel he was lying. They felt he had forgotten what he was talking about. Andy McCarthy, who has been the absolute gold standard over at National Review discussing these scandals, but he really knows every detail about this. But he, as a former federal prosecutor, said that this in itself, the way this was handled, was suspicious.
I've had many cases involving witnesses where you have a recorded conversation, as happened with General Flynn. If you're not trying to entrap someone or you're not trying to bring them into a perjury trap, what you simply do, especially I would think if you were dealing with a 33-year heroic combat veteran, commander of the United States, what you would do is you bring him in, you play the tape, and then you ask him, what did this mean? What did that mean? If you bring him in under circumstances where you have the tape and it doesn't need explanation, and you're asking him what was said, I can't conceive of any reason to do that other than to hope that he'll get it wrong, and then you have a basis to say that he made false statements. I just, having done this a very long time, I can't wrap my brain around that.
So that's exactly what they did. They set him up. They set him up to lie. So you got Comey saying, yeah, send a couple of guys over there. We know that the FBI agents called him up in a friendly way. And the cops do this to people. But this is tremendous power being used against an administration that's just come into office. You heard Comey saying, well, we appreciate Bush and Obama. Now that snarky, nasty, sanctimonious way he has of driving Trump down and basically telling the 64 million people who voted for him what idiots they are because James Comey knows so much more about it. Okay, so now they come and they say you lied to the FBI, which is a crime in and of itself. What he said to Kislyak, remember, what he said to the Russian ambassador, not a crime. He didn't commit a crime on that phone call. Nothing he did in that phone call was criminal. It was only lying to the FBI or getting it wrong to the FBI because they set him up to do it. That was the problem, right? And again, a combat-hardened general of the United States Army, one of our heroes, they treated him like this is the way they treated him. They set him up to go down the drain. Before you go, one last thing. Hit the subscribe button so that you stay up to date on all our content.